Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video I want to talk to you about a particular habit of mind that creates suffering. This happened because I had a confrontation with myself a while back and started considering my life and my experience differently, and noticed that basically I was having a shitty experience. I was having a rough experience. And I started to, it's sort of like I took off all of the excuses and the justifications that I had for my experience being bad, and then I was left with now a bad experience, and it was on me. It was my life that was not good. I was in a lot of emotional pain and stuff like, blah, 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 right? Story. And I considered, from that confrontation, I started to consider, well, what makes my experience not be suffering? What creates my experience to not be like suffering? And I had to start to work it out and start to figure things out. And from this figuring and these considerations, one of the things I discovered is that one place where people generate a lot of suffering, and what I mean by this is they make up crap that hurts them, okay? It's like they hurt their own selves. And this domain I'm calling comparison. It's in the world of comparison. For example, I had a guy write to me recently, and he was saying how he didn't feel like he was, making it in life. He didn't feel like he had done enough in life. I don't know anybody else that's had that go on. I could see clearly that in his mind, like what he's doing, he's comparing himself to what he thinks he should be by now. I've seen more than one person do that. I've done that myself. It's like I consider my age, which is a concept, where I think I should be versus where I am now, and then I link those up, and then I have a reaction about that. So, okay, that's how it functions, that's how it works. Now, confronting this in yourself may be a more challenging endeavor, but it is essentially confronting that you do not need to compare yourself to an idea, and grasping that the comparison itself is something you do in your mind. That's what you do. What I'm calling a comparison, and these are particular kinds of comparisons that are disempowering, they're painful emotionally, and they're not needed. See, so now how do you get at this stuff? For example, right? And I realize, oh my God, there's this whole domain of comparison, which is to say, I'm this way, I think I should be some other way, and then I've compared the way I am to how I think I should be. And when I do that hurts. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to compare yourself to how you think you should be. There is how you think you should be. But you don't need to compare yourself to that. Then you're just left with how you should be. And you don't touch it or something like that, you see, and then it doesn't turn into this painful thing. And let's see, how do I get you to get that in a way that makes a difference? First of all, start to consider in yourself, where do you compare yourself to things? Like, how do you do that experientially? What has to happen for you to compare yourself to something you're not? And what are you comparing to what? See, you got to be very rigorous with how you put your attention, because you could consider, I'm comparing myself to how I should be. Well, what are you talking about when you say I? Do you mean you, or do you mean a concept about you? Or do you mean your history, which is a concept? Or do you mean your character and your actions, which are character and actions? They aren't you. Usually when people say you or I, they're not speaking about them. They're speaking about a concept, an activity, a behavior, past history, which is more concept, character traits, likes and dislikes, that's what people, when they smush the word I out there, that's usually what they're talking about. So if you think you are that stuff, or yourself is that, and then you take that and compare that to another idea, which is like how you should be, now you have a recipe for pain. Don't compare like that, you won't experience the pain. It's like, don't do that, right? So then in trying to get at the stuff, you start from likely a position, well, I'm just in pain, or I should be some other way. But get real with yourself, or get more rigorous with your considering, and confront the need in you to do that. Because I might say something like that, or Peter might say something as well. It's like, well, just stop doing that. And then most people, what they have going on, and I've had this go on myself, is, but I can't. Yeah, you can. No, but I can't. You're already doing it, so that means you can stop doing it. It's like, what, do you think these thoughts are something that are done to you? If you think that, then now you're stuck and you can't do anything about it, so turn off the video, go have a beer, buy me some whiskey, whatever. However, if you confront the fact that thoughts are something that you do, they're not something that you are, you can stop doing them, because whose thoughts are they? Whose experience are you having right now? Again, I think I'm sounding like a broken record. I've said this stuff before. So starting from nothing, starting from a base level, what I'm assuming is a base level general experience of people, you have to confront that these are thoughts you're having. They're not you. It's some bullshit you made up in your head. It's not you. Now, stop it. Let me take the direct approach. Now, but you can't stop it. All right, good. Confront that you need it. Don't stop it. Let it be there. Embrace it. Now, why do you need that? Because you don't do stuff that you don't need. And what I mean by that is the need, when you hear about a need from my mouth, you see you're hearing about it. This is different than the reality of a need. What I say about a need is not your experience of needing. Needing is like that strong feeling stuff that's like, gotta have it, otherwise I might die. Gotta have it, like a force. And it's a feeling, force. I need this. Yeah, like I need to do the comparison. I need it. I can't stop it. If you can't stop it, then you need it. Like it's real. Confront the force. Why do you need it? Why do you need to compare yourself to others? I can hear an excuse coming. Oh, I need it. If I don't have it, how will I know what to do? Let's just pretend that you can do stuff without that, okay? You don't need that. You can decide to do shit. You can just decide. Yeah, but I need the comparison. I need it. No, this type of comparison you don't need. Why? Well, because you can live without it. You see younger kids and they're just happy-go-lucky doing stuff. Are they busy worried about comparing themselves to how they look, how they think they should look? You ever see like a really, really self-conscious baby? No, they'll take a crap right on your hand and they won't even care. I assume. I've never had a baby crap on my hand, but I do remember taking a crap as a kid once. I did not give a shit, and I know I crapped my pants because I could feel it. I have a vague memory of feeling myself shit my pants as a baby, young kid. I didn't care. I'd be a bit mortified now. You see how that works? Okay, so this comparison business, if you want to stop it, confront the need, embrace that you are doing something, and get what it's about. Now, if you want to discover what's going on without changing yourself, which I am a fan of, I would recommend, I would invite you to consider for yourself. You don't have to, of course, but you could. Start noticing where you compare yourself to others. Or do you compare yourself to how life should be? Or do you compare yourself to an image that you have of how you should be? You see, that again, that's a comparison of what to what? you as a concept mostly to an image of you. That is another concept. So you're comparing one concept to another concept and then getting in pain about that. What a waste. Does that sound like something that's worthwhile to do? Does it sound healthy? Does it sound empowering? Does it sound... No. Huh. Well, you can stop doing that anytime now. So this guy wrote to me, and I could hear it. You know, he's studying in a prestigious school, you know, and he's doing this stuff. You know, I thought I should be further along by now. I don't know anybody that's done that. He basically said he's comparing himself to other people and other kids. He sees other kids in the class and they're doing these things and he's not doing those things, so there's a comparison. Again, it's a comparison and it sucks. It makes the experience bad. And what does it actually serve? Like, what does it actually do to compare like that? The only thing I can see that does is create pain. Okay? So it's painful. Now, another aspect that I've discovered when working in these ways with my own experience is there's additional components, I think, that lock it in place. Like I could have, if I just had me as a self, like a concept, say, with no comparison, then I'm just here. There's nothing good or bad about me. I just have qualities. But then I have some idea of what good and bad is, and I compare myself or see myself through a lens of value, or hold myself within the context of value, good and bad, that I predetermine. Somehow I've learned what good and bad are, and then I compare myself to that. Now I've got good and bad qualities. First I have just no good and bad, just qualities. Then now via some activity, I'm calling comparison, although comparison may not be the best word. It denotes an activity, something I'm doing. Now I'm good and bad. Is it bad that I pick my nose, or is it good? If I eat it, is that good or bad? Do you see how that changes from just doing this to now this is bad or something? You see? It goes from one to the other. Now there's other components, like so we've got some idea of this comparison business. Now I have myself. Now I compare myself to what I should be, which is like another concept. I go, okay, here I am like this, and likely already good and bad because that tends to go that way. Here I am like this. That's how I should be. And then I actively go, I should be like this, which means I'm not okay the way that I am. Because I should be like that, and I'm like this. So that means that the way that I am now is already now wrong. And that's how that wrongness gets created. Now, if I need to compare like that, or I need to have the ideal, the need itself is its own. It's like the glue that holds it all together, as if an additional component that locks it in place. Now I need to have an ideal. I should be like this. And if I don't have this ideal, something bad's going to happen. The need itself is not the same as the ideal, although they're related. And myself is not the same as the need or the ideal. You see, so there's like a whole complex mass coming together. Not a mass. You see, that denotes a thing. We got to be careful because we don't know if it's a thing or not. I'm just using words here, but it's the experience we're looking for. And then it all gets locked in. It's hard to break it apart, kind of thing. So it's useful to confront these things if you want to get free. And consider that if you are not free, if you get it like, oh, I get that's something I'm doing, but you cannot stop doing it, that means you have not confronted it in the place where it's real, where it exists. You've perhaps thought about it, thought about becoming free, but not actually done it. These are different. It's very easy to intellectualize, and usually in this kind of work, and probably the way that I present or Peter presents, it's easy to get intellectual, but you notice if you pay attention, intellect doesn't do it, does it? It just intellectualizes. Some of this stuff is very non-intellectual, and it requires a certain way of looking that gets to the heart of the matter, that you then can free yourself from it for real, not like a thought. And so these are some of the components I'm trying to point you towards so that you can discover the reality of the situation. And ultimately, of course, I have in my mind, free yourself from it because the comparison is worthless. It just serves to hurt you. I don't want you to be in pain. I don't want me to be in pain. It really doesn't do anything other than that. But it seems necessary. All right? So if you don't like that kind of experience, stop comparing. Focus on yourself. You know, or like Gary Vaynerchuk might say, he's like, nobody gives a shit what you do. They're busy with their own self. If you're so worried about what other people have done, you're going to generate this negative experience. It will make you not good the way you are. See, it seems that the most powerful way to make progress is to accept the way you are and move on. Because you can't change the way you are now because it's the way you are. It's useful to get what way that is so then you can do something about it. See, but all this like hemming and hawing or beating myself up because I'm not achieving these goals, it's like that doesn't serve anything. Like I did some of that today. You see, I had a conversation with a colleague, friend of mine, and he was giving me a good piece of advice. He was coming from the heart. Really, it seemed like he was struggling to get it out, but once we fucking told me, it didn't feel good. And then I spent some time hemming and hawing a bit, and then like there was this negative experience that was happening, and I was going, oh yeah, there's that stuff again. There it is again. There it is again. Like, oh, somehow I can't do it, and I'm not good enough, and da-da-da-da-da, and that was there. And to some degree, I can even notice it now in my experience, like way background, but it's that same, it's just not quite good. And I could entertain that and live with that as my experience, or I can go, okay, I'm going to lighten up on that. That doesn't serve me. So I'm training myself to not serve that or not have that be the dominant factor in my experience. Why? Because it hurts. It's painful for no reason. No reason that I can find anyway. See, so then I decide to do something else, which is better. Like create a video, create something of value to give to somebody. This is a better experience. Yeah. Okay, so you got that? This is what I'm calling this comparison. So for you, consider the way that I go about considering these things is like start to look at where do questioning. Where do I compare myself to others? Where do I make comparisons of any kind? You see, I could compare myself to the objects in the room. I can compare myself to how I should be. I could compare my idea of somebody to myself. I could compare the reality of somebody to myself. I could compare one idea to another, and you see how that, and then start to investigate comparison and notice it's all over the place. And some of it ain't good. Some of that there comparison shit ain't good, dude. It ain't good. It's not healthy. It's not empowering. It doesn't serve you being more healthy, free, empowered, enlivened. And it doesn't serve any of that, as far as I can tell. Then I also consider things in terms of consequences. If I do this thing, what are the consequences? Like what actually existentially, we would say, happens when I do that? If I have this experience. Do I like that experience? All right, I've got to give that up then. Why? Because they're together. They're not separate. If I lie, I'm a liar. If I keep my word, I keep my word. There's consequences. There's, if I intentionally hurt somebody with an unkind word, that has an impact on my experience. And then do I want that impact or not? If no, good. Then I ought to shift how I'm going about things because what I'm doing now hurts. See, like you ever get really angry at somebody? For example, usually if we're angry, the anger is doing something, is doing a job, and it seems justified, so then it feels good, but underneath that anger is a bunch of pain. Do you like that pain? Yes? Okay, well, enjoy. If you don't like that pain, you may have to give up the anger. Why? Because they're not separate. Right? So there's these consequences. I'm inviting you to consider consequences and things like that for you. Cool? So there you go. That's a little bit about a certain domain of mind that I find disempowering that you can discover and ultimately free yourself from if you want. And it's probably bigger than you think. But check yourself the next time you're comparing yourself to how you should be, because it automatically means you're not right the way you are. And hey, maybe lighten up on that. Might be worth your time. Otherwise, enjoy the suffering because it's going to happen. You're going to do it strongly. So you might as well enjoy that too. Okay? Thanks very much for listening. That's what I have for you on that. If you want to investigate more, if you want to come do more powerful work, please check the links in the description. Navigate my website. I've got a forum. This is where people can ask questions. Helps me create content for you. I've got a few little courses out there. Hey, sign up for a course. Might be worth your time. You can get deeper into it. There's other opportunities. Join a community. Come here, do workshops. They will kick your butt. They're extremely powerful events. And, of course, you're always invited to do that. But the main thing, go to my website, navigate, look around. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm available. And that's it. Take care. Much love. I'm Brendan Lee, and I'm in support of consciousness and skill worldwide. Till next time. Ciao. Bye. Oh, right. I'm going to start doing monthly Zoom calls. If you want to join me on Zoom, go to my website, find it. I'm basically doing coaching stuff with people. We can work on consciousness. I'm here to answer your questions, essentially. It's like I'm here to be a consciousness facilitator. I'm here to facilitate you in matters of personal growth, empowerment, stuff like that. And also just I'm here as a resource and a focal point for community so that if you can interact and or know that there's other people working on this kind of stuff in the world, and it's not just you. All right, that also seems to be something that's good for people because, it's like we're all alone out there for now. Okay, I don't want to grow that. So if you're interested, again, check the links, come to my website, let me know, email me, ask me questions, drop a comment on this video. You know how to do it. All right, take care. Thank you.